It's the toughest track of the South. It's the Punta Gorda Speedway, and it's a Saturday night, and afterwards it's Turn 5 racing. Right here, what's Turn 5? It's that last turn when you make it off the track and you can pull the car onto the trailer with all 4 tires aired up, and you don't need the help of a tow truck. And, well, tonight we had a few people that had some tow trucks, but none of these guys that are hanging out with us tonight. It's a family episode of Turn 5 racing, and probably one of the most famous names in racing in the state of Florida is Anderson. Right here next to me on the left-hand side, probably the veteran. Yes, he is the veteran, unless we're talking about your dad, Dickie, with a wild man out of Wildwood, Wayne Anderson. How you doing, bud?
Man, I'm doing great, man. We had basically a terrific night of racing. Capped off 2012 with being able to finally win the Punta Gorda Speedway Championship. And ironic twist of things, last year I ran second to Billy Bigley, and he won it. And this year I won it, and he ran second. So we've been fierce competitors for years and years. And so there was nobody better that I'd like to battle for a championship than him and his family.
You know, I want to talk about history and racing just a little bit with you. I mean, right now in the tower, we've got basically, if your dad was here, we'd have 4 generations of race drivers from the Anderson family. But let's go back a little bit. I remember when you were in the Truck Series and the Porter Cable deal. I mean, how'd that all come together? Because it was kind of neat. It was that first time that, you know, a racer from Florida really got up there and they were big time.
Well, basically, Porter Cable, my son Randy, his car owner, he has a son. Well, his son was actually working for Porter Cable, and he was the one that helped me, you know, basically achieve the sponsorship from Porter Cable. And it started out as just a few TV races for the All-Pro Series. And with that, we were able to win the All-American 400 in Nashville. Well, at that time, they had over 200 employees there and the president of the company. So the way luck had it with me winning that race, it secured my sponsorship for the following year. So after the following year, we kind of we had a pretty good relationship, and they asked me what I wanted to do. And I told them, you know, I kind of always wanted to go further in racing, and the Truck Series is where they felt was the best spot for them, and for me too. I thought it was a great thing, and not many people realize that I took over Kenny Irwin's ride, and that was actually the Ray Bestis truck. And for Porter Cable, I'm not going to make this a long story, but for Porter Cable, Ray Bestis asked me to go to drive for them, and I turned them down to take over the Porter, you know, because Porter Cable got me there. And I lasted, I think, 23 out of 25 races, and they let me go. And what happened, you know, in a short story was when I went there and drove the truck, doing all the testing for Kenny at the end of the year before I took over the full-time ride, was all the people I didn't realize once I signed with them coming through the next year, all the people that were there, the crew chiefs were let go, the shock guy went with Kenny Irwin, the body guy, so there was nobody there that was there for him. And it was a struggling year for me. I mean, we really struggled. And so at the end of the year, I thought I locked myself into a 3-year contract, and I took Porter Cable to them, and ended up, I was the one that locked out because I signed with the truck team instead of my sponsor. So long and short of it is, I got to spend a year Craftsman truck racing in '98. In '99, I come back to short track racing at the World Series at New Smyrna, and that secured my Jenny King ride for the All-Pro car. And that was, I probably had some of the best years driving for Frankie Grill. And then for 5 years, I won the Snowball Derby. I won several big races, and I did better doing that than I ever thought I'd do with the truck.
You know, it's been fun growing up, and it's funny. I'm probably making you feel like an old man because I'm no spring chicken, man. But growing up as a kid, it was great watching you race around the state of Florida. You know, everywhere from down south here all the way up into the Panhandle, and it's just been really entertaining watching you and your dad, and now your boys come up through the ranks in racing. When we talk about the Anderson family, the big one that comes up is your dad, Dickie. I can remember years here, he'd show up with that black 92 when he first showed up with the Mopar, and we were all kind of like, you know, hey, that's cool. But when was your first race when you got behind the wheel of the car and your dad got to watch you?
Well, my dad really never watched me that much because he was racing for a living at the same time. I started racing in 1987, and I started at a little track in Bronson, Florida. And to branch out in '88, I moved to North Carolina I went up there for the year and spent some time racing at Asheville Speedway, wound up third in points, and basically left home and went on my own. And then I came back and worked a job and basically had two kids, got married, had two kids, and all I know is racing. That's been my living for the last 25, 26 years is making a living driving race cars, and that was my dad's living. It has been, it probably still is, and so anyway, he had a great career, and I don't think he's completely done. I think he still wants to race here and there, but that's yet to be seen. But I focus all my efforts just like I've said it once or twice. Billy Bigley, I look at him, what he's done with his kids and his family. And I kind of try to do the same thing with my kids that he has done. And Randy's got a late model ride. He drives for some good people, some good friends of ours, and so he, as you see, he's actually getting, he's running seconds, and he ran third here, one of the 100 lappers. So he's coming along, and his time is going to come here in the next couple of years. And so, Randy's, 18, he's graduated, he's moved out of the house, he works a job for me every day, and it's Ricky's turn. So tonight you got the experience as Ricky's first race, and we're so very proud of him and what he's done. And we came here New Year's Day and tested with him on a truck, just by himself. Nobody else was here. We probably ran probably 75, 80 laps of testing with just him, and we decided to come back while we brought the late models and while we're here. And tonight was the night for him to debut, and he just did an awesome job for us.
You brought up the Bigleys and talking about, how you guys come down here and test, and that's something the Bigleys do. This we talked a little bit in the winner's circle tonight. You were a proud papa when he came down there and had the win in the heat race, and then came out and finished second in the feature, which was a great run, especially for a first night out. Is it tough now? I mean, being a dad and being a racer dad, and I mean, do you get those butterflies even worse now when the kids jump behind the wheel of the car?
Oh, absolutely. But my dad never really went racing with me. He was always on his own making his living, and I went off and I did everything basically on my own. He gave me a lot of support, and he had a lot of knowledge. But I'm going to do things differently with my kids. I'm going to be there for them, and I'm going to be here when they race, and it was just such a proud moment tonight to see him put it on the outside and win his first heat race right off the bat, and he drove to the win. He didn't get it handed to him, and that was really exciting. As you can see, the fans were excited with it too. But no. My dad, I don't, he didn't show up tonight. I think it's hard for him to get away. He's had, his back's been hurting him real bad, and I think it's hard for him to get out and come down here. But it's a shame because he could have really got to see the youngest Anderson really do a hell of a job tonight.
You guys have to talk to Bob Coberson from Florida Video. Take the video home, let him watch it. You guys do some bench racing at the house. But two more questions, and then we're going to talk to Randy a little bit. Besides tonight, I know it was a proud moment and probably one that you won't forget, seeing the youngest out here racing tonight. Ricky, we'll talk to him a little bit later. But in your racing career, what is one of your favorite memories that stand out the most?
Well, I've been very fortunate to win some very big races, and there's a couple that stand out to me. Winning the All-American 400 when I did, at the timing, it was there were such great competitors. Steve Gill I race with now. I race with his brother Bobby Gill, and an excellent racer that he is. And so when I won my first All-American 400, it meant a lot to me, and I was able to go back and win it again. But nonetheless, Florida's my home. I won the Governor's Cup at New Smyrna. I've won it 3 times. I think only Ed Howes won it 4 times, and he was the one who basically started these late models. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm also proud that before Hialeah Speedway closed, that's where I grew up, and that's where my dad was, basically king of the Florida short tracks. He come from right there. I won there last Marion Edwards at Hialeah Speedway where I grew up. So them 2 races are very proud to me, or should I say 3, but I've had a great career, and I'm not saying my career's over by any means, but I've taken the time in the last couple years and really got off the road and spent time here at this facility at Punta Gorda Speedway, and what has been done with this place in the last few years is just remarkable, and I hope that we can continue it. I hope whatever airport authority, whatever we have going on here, the conflict with the racetrack, I hope that gets worked out, because as you've seen tonight, this place was packed. It was packed last week. It's packed every time I come here, and that means somebody's doing something right. And I got to hand it to Kevin Williams and his wife Terry and his family and what they've done. You guys too. It's a family affair here. Everybody works hard, and you can see how the results are on the track. And there's we're doing this interview an hour after the races are over, and I'm still seeing rigs going out of the racetrack and cars leaving. So that just goes to show you how important this racetrack is to this community.
Well, we must have the ESPN thing going on there, because that's going to lead into my second question. Not with everything that's going on political-wise with the racetrack and everything that happened tonight, but when you look at Punta Gorda Speedway and you come down here, what's the first thing that comes to you in your mind about this track?
Well, I came here, actually ran the very first race when it was paved the very first time. So to come here, and that's when it had an inside wall and everything, to see, I have seen the place, at the start we thought, man, what a great racetrack we're going to have. Then you've seen it fail. And then you've seen somebody else come here, another owner had come in here, and it failed. Another group of owners come in here, take the lease over, and they fail. And we finally got somebody who come in here and basically should get an A+ for effort and a grade for what has been done to this racetrack. And to see these people, basically the Williams family, have to go through and endure this right now. And it's just, I don't think our racing community can lose another racetrack right now.
I agree, and I appreciate you spending the time with us, and always enjoy having you and your family come down here to race. It's always a lot of fun.
Well, thank you, and like I say, I appreciate that, and all you guys and everything you do here. It's just I take it as an honor to be asked to come up here tonight, and really looking forward to hopefully coming back in here and racing a long time after this.
Well, Wayne, we appreciate it, and right now I'm going to go over here and talk to the next guy in line right here, the other part of the family, Randy. And this has been kind of an interesting deal. Whenever you come down here to this track, it's kind of been a lot of ups, a lot of downs. It's a kind of a lot of give and take, and had a pretty good run tonight going for you.
Yeah, we had a real good run going tonight, and unfortunately we had some mechanical issues, but we still managed to get a nice top 10 out of it. But we've come down here and we've had some real good runs, some real bad runs, but we've always managed to pull a good finish out of here.
You're kind of in the middle here. You're the third generation driver. When you go around to these other tracks in Florida, or you come down here, I mean, what's it like when everybody comes up and they go, "Hey, you're Wayne's son," or "You're Dickie's grandson"? I mean, how does that kind of make you stand up and think you might need a bigger helmet or puff the chest out a little bit more?
It does a little bit, but then it also means you got big shoes to fill. Coming up through, watching my grandfather, watching my dad, you're looked at to do well through most of what you do, but we've always kind of did really well, so it's been not so much, but watching Ricky come through here has just been amazing.
And that's kind of a unique situation too. Now, it's dad watching the kids, but the older brother, I mean, how's that? I mean, do you get butterflies in your stomach just watching your younger brother out there worrying about what he's going to do?
Oh yeah, because it's definitely nervous, because I know what my father expects of him, and watching him do that, it's just wild how he knows what to do at this little bit of experience he has.
You've been around racing since you were born. You come from probably one of the biggest racing families in the state, and one of the biggest names in the state when it comes to Florida short track racing. We were talking about how it's hard to fill those shoes and everything, but when was the first time you realized and you're like, "Dad, when am I going to get a chance to race?"
That was probably when I was about 12 years old. We decided to get a pro truck like Ricky has, and we really went off and we won the kids championship in it the first year they had it, and that was kind of our breakout season with the truck, and we'd ran some mini stocks a little bit, and that was our breakout season. We really come through and shined and won the championship in a couple races through it.
So I'm going to probably ask one of the same questions I just asked your dad, but what is your favorite moment so far in your racing career?
One of my favorite moments in my career was actually here probably 2 or 3 races ago. We got caught up in our first wreck and really kind of tore the car up, and we went to the rear and come back to the rear and pulled a nice third finish out of it, and the car was all beat and battered.
Yeah, I remember that. It was tore up pretty good, had stuff hanging off of it. It was hot, and you got out, and you had a big old smile on your face. It's like, man, I couldn't believe I finished this race.
Yeah, it was really wild because it was just so much tape flying, zip ties flying, and we just everybody was kind of seeing the car. They were either scared or nervous, one of the two, and we kind of come through there and picked them off one by one and passed real good cars and pulled a finish out of it. And we really showed we could come back after tearing something up real bad like that.
When you're out on the track with your dad, it's kind of neat that you both get to race in the same type of cars and at the same tracks and everything. What goes through your mind when you guys get out on the track and now you get to a point you're racing for position with your dad?
I know I got to live with that next week, so I make sure I'm real careful on what I do.
Have you ever even said, well, maybe it's my time, maybe I need to move him out of the way?
Not yet.
I want to be there when that happens. So it's going to be a great race to call when it happens, man.
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared to do that. Yeah, I got a job to keep.
This is you guys. It's a racing business for you guys. It's a way of life. And Randy, we really enjoy watching you and your family come down here and race. But how about the chance with the little brother there? Are you excited to at some point get to go out there and beat fenders with him at some time?
Oh yeah, I'm real excited. He's done a lot of bench racing here lately.
So when you get near him, he's probably going to get moved, right?
Probably.
That's too cool. That's too cool. Well, Randy, thank you for coming up and spending time with us. You and your family. It's a pleasure when you guys come out, and it's fun to hang out and talk to you. And thank you for coming up on Turn 5 Racing.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate being here.
Oh, and before I go, because I didn't get your dad to do it, but anybody you want to thank helping you here?
Yeah, I want to thank my car owner and his wife, Don and Katie Johnston. They've really picked me up to where I am, and they own my car and just really backed me up 100%. And it's been nice having my family and them. It's just been unbelievable lately.
Well, cool. Thank you to them, too, and for helping you guys get the job done here on Saturday nights. It is a family edition of Turn 5 Racing tonight here at the Punta Gorda Speedway, and we're sitting in-house right now with the Andersons. We'll be right back, and we're going to talk up with the youngest member of the Anderson clan, cutting his teeth tonight right here at the toughest track in the South, the Punta Gorda Speedway. Welcome back to Turn 5 Racing, the family edition. Since racing is a big family, then why don't we have one of our extended family up into the house with us tonight? And we're hanging out with the Anderson family, one of the biggest names in racing in the state of Florida. And actually, the fourth generation of Anderson drivers hanging out here with me. And Ricky Anderson, thanks for coming up and hanging with us, bud.
Yep, thank you for being here. Just like to thank my dad for helping me, bringing me coming up here, and my brother for helping me all he does. Just been a fun night.
It's definitely been a fun night. We talked to your dad and your brother a little bit earlier, and want to talk about, me and your dad talked about how you guys came down and did a lot of practice here at this track. Had you raced or gotten behind the wheel of anything else, go-karts, bandoleros, or anything like that before the truck?
Yes, actually, we did the quarter midget for a little bit, and then we went to go-karts, and we did about mini stocks, and we didn't even finish the race in it. And then really that's all I've done other than the truck tonight.
We're going to get into the truck a little bit. Let's talk about the smaller cars. Which one did you have the best time driving in?
Probably the mini stock. It was more of like experiencing a big car and what it does, and riding with my dad.
Was it tough getting used to coming from the quarter midgets and the smaller and the carts and stuff like that? Was it something tough getting used to, or did you feel more comfortable in the bigger cars?
Not really. I felt more comfortable in the bigger cars. It was just easier to handle.
So now that you've gotten up here, you guys, I saw you guys were running T.J. Duke's old truck. How did that come about? You guys got into that ride?
Actually, Terry Duke and my dad were talking, and somehow Terry gave us a truck, and we just started fixing it up, and we went racing with it.
That's pretty cool, because that truck's got a lot of history. It is a championship truck. It's been out here before. It was really neat finally seeing you behind the wheel of the 28 machine. But you guys came down here, and you were cutting your teeth on racing. You guys doing a lot of practice down here. Was that a huge learning curve trying to figure out what to do with that type of a race car?
Oh, definitely. It just kind of helped me get faster in what I need to do.
So now that you're the fourth generation out here at the racetrack, came out for the first time out, rookie deal, got your first win right out of the box in the heat race. How'd that feel?
That was just awesome, you know. It was a little bit of luck, you know. A couple cars went to the rear in front of me, and just there was an open spot on the outside, so I took it.
You know, it's funny. I've been around racing a long time, and as being a young guy, it seems like the younger drivers have no fear. And, you know, you guys will look at a small spot and stick it in there, whereas the veteran drivers will kind of stand back and take a look at it and think about it for a second. And I saw a lot of that tonight, and it was that the tenacity, that going after it. I mean, you weren't even afraid to put it up on the outside.
Right, it was just, I don't know how you say it, it was just one of them things where it just felt right to go on the outside. So.
I mean, you can go ahead and say, yeah, I'm a driver.
Yep, I'm a driver.
It was fun watching you race tonight. It was so cool seeing you and your whole family. It was neat watching your dad come down to the winner's circle after your second place finish in the feature tonight. I mean, he definitely looked proud. I mean, you know, and your brother here, I mean, even after the first race, you ready to go beat fenders with the rest of the family?
Oh, yes, definitely.
So who's going to move who out of the way first, you or your brother?
Probably my brother.
Anybody you want to thank to help you get down here?
Oh, yes, Terry Duke, my mom, my dad, my brother, Danny Allen, and that's about it.
Well, Ricky Anderson, it was a pleasure finally getting the chance to meet you. It was great watching you race tonight, and can't wait for you to come down here and do it again.
Yep, me too. I really appreciate it.
No problem. And the fourth generation driver of the Anderson family, Ricky Anderson, hanging out with us, our driver of the week right here at the toughest track in the South, the Punta Gorda Speedway. You know, racing's all about family, and this track is all about family. It's been here for 23 years. My children have grown up here. Now the Andersons' kids are growing up here and cutting their teeth racing. There's plenty of other ones out here. The Jerica family, the Williams family, who now owns the track. And we want to keep this a family business and a family affair. Racing is nothing but one big family, and I tell you what, when you get them all together and you make them mad, look out, you're usually going to have a good time. So don't forget, it's that last turn of the night when you head off the track and all the tires on the car. It's Turn 5 Racing at the Punta Gorda Speedway. Another Saturday night at the toughest track of the South, the Punta Gorda Speedway, and welcome back. Guess what? If you weren't at the races this past Saturday night, you missed it. But I tell you what, there was a bunch of people here, and they didn't miss it. They got to see a night full of exciting racing. Let's get right into the action. Started off, we only had a few of the Legends cars out here, but hey, those old guys that were out here racing tonight, they needed to get their track time, and they did. It was pretty darn exciting. Came right down to the finish. The red and yellow machine of Tony Steinbuck out of Tamarack, Florida, driving the 54, came home the winner, and the 2012 champion for the Legends cars. He finished second. That's the number 7 machine of Mike Verha out of Fort Myers, and finishing third, coming in there, the yellow machine, the 2D of David Patterson, getting the job done, finishing third. So it was great to have those guys out here. Once they were done, the rookie trucks were on the track, and it was an exciting night of racing for them, seeing the debut of the new rookie truck driver cutting his teeth, Ricky Anderson out of Wildwood. Did a good job early on in the heat race, took the win in that, came back, had a good run in the feature, but taking the win, coming in first out of Alva, Chad Chastain, Mellon Jr. coming home the winner and taking the championship. Finishing second, the new rookie driver, Ricky Anderson, the 4th generation of Anderson drivers coming out and having a good run, so the proud papa was pretty happy about that, Wayne and the whole family down in the winner's circle. And finishing third, another racing family back out at the track, Travis Miller in the 36M out of North Fort Myers, finishing third. That was just too cool. Glad to have another Miller out at the track racing. That's some history right there, too. Once they were done, the Cowboy Cadillacs were up to bat. It was some door banging, tailgate banging, wheel-to-wheel, door-to-door, hillbilly hardtop racing. Coming out on top, the young man from Arcadia, the Leadfoot, John Pummel Jr., taking it to the winner's circle and finishing second. Wow, this was cool. John Garrett has been here for years, finally back on a podium finish in the second spot. John Garrett, good job for him driving the 26 machine. And finishing third, Jeff Diebel out of Port Charlotte, the proud grandpa. He got the job done too. So it was great to see all them drivers out here with us. Once the trucks were done, it was on to the Winter Nationals for the dwarf cars, and they came out here in full effect. But the driver, The driver getting the job done out of Eustis, Florida, that familiar orange machine with all them wind stickers all over it, Bo Bass. What a rocket ship. He was fast qualifier, put it out front, never looked back. Coming in second, man out of Bonita Springs, the number 4 machine of Andy Pryor. He is always tough here, and he had another good run. And finishing third was actually John Bailey out of Sarasota. John Bailey having a good run. Good to see John back out at the track, and that was the Winter Nationals for the dwarf cars. When they were done, the super late models would take to the track for 100 laps of racing action with the Super Late Model Elite Series here at the Punta Gorda Speedway. It was race number 10, and it was the final points race of the night. Coming home the champion of the Super Late Models, Mr. Wayne Anderson, and the second generation driver in the Anderson family. But taking the top spot in the 100-lap race was the number 23 out of Auburndale, Florida, Mike Smith. And man, was that car awesome tonight. Wayne Anderson, the wild man out of Wildwood, finishing second in the 84 machine, and finishing third out of Bradenton, Steve Gill, with another podium finish. It was exciting seeing him back up here, and a lot of side-by-side racing in the super late model class here at the toughest track in the South, so it was a lot of fun. Once they were done, then the Road Warriors were on the track, and boy, the Thundering Herd with the Road Warriors, those guys are getting tough. The racing action is close, it's hard, it's tight, no give and take. It's door handle to door handle. Sparks were flying, and when it got right down to it at the end of the night, back in the winner's circle again, out of Cape Coral, Shane Leonard getting the job done. Another big family that comes out here and supports the Punta Gorda Speedway. And finishing second was the 33 machine out of Naples, Christopher Loney, doing a good job. Very close finish. And right behind him, or should I say right next to him, the 97, the Nokomis Connection, Chris Scott, coming in third. Very exciting racing in the Road Warrior class. It wasn't over with. After the Road Warriors were done, the Pro Trucks would take over, and it was another wild and woolly night with the Pro Trucks. But coming out on top, taking the top spot out of Venice, Steve Darvalik's doing the good job and getting it right into the winner's circle, and finishing second and taking the 2012 championship. Young Kelly Burns in the 4 trucks sneaking in there, and another one of the young ladies right behind her, finishing third in the Mad Snacker machine, Whitney Poole in the 00 out of Vero Beach, Florida, coming home third. It was very exciting seeing the young ladies up there in the podium finish again. That's how they started the year out, and they finished the year out on the podium, so that was pretty cool. Once that was over, the Pro 4s, a little bit of a shortened event for them, and it was a crazy night. A lot of pushing, a lot of shoving, a lot of beating, a lot of banging, but hey, that's racing. Got real exciting right down to the end, and coming home the winner, the 04 Ryan Culver, putting it out on top out of Fort Myers, finishing second. J.C.R. Jess out of St. Pete coming home, had the puppy there with her, having a good time, and finishing third, young Skylar Knoll, after completely destroying that car over a month ago, back on top with the podium finish. Once again, it was an exciting night of racing at the Punta Gorda Speedway, and as always, if you weren't here, plain and simple, you missed it. But you don't want to miss it next Saturday night, because everybody's going to be right here at the toughest track in the South, the Punta Gorda Speedway.